All right, one of my better fades, Jack. I'm not sure if you know, I do some work over there with some of the DJs in Ibiza over off the coast of Spain. David Guetta has been a great mentor to me, so it's always humbling when I'm able to nail a fade like that. Anyway, this is the Scary Alvarez podcast. I'm of course Scary Alvarez, a Wine Island enjoyer, Sherry Wine destroyer, Jake's grandpa, and Cindy's plus one when she'll have me. We're very excited today to have tackle Jack Nelson of the Wisconsin Badgers, or most recently of the Wisconsin Badgers. I guess you're a Badger always, but
Absolutely.
yeah, we're he's kind of gearing up for the NFL draft now, and we're gonna chat about some things with him. But yeah, Jack, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. I always give the guests a opportunity to kind of quickly just introduce themselves to my audience. I'm sure most Wisconsin fans are quite familiar with you and what you've done, but we just kind of say hello and tell them what they think they need to know as we start off today.
Yeah, so I'm Jack Nelson. Just finished up my fifth season playing at Wisconsin. Started the last three seasons at left tackle. The season before that, I started at right guard. And now I'm prepping for the NFL draft here.
Awesome. There are a couple of teammates like you, but you were in a unique situation to have been at Wisconsin over two different eras.
Yeah,
So you came in with the Chryst era. Obviously, that did not end the way that most people would have liked to see it end, but we brought in Coach Fickell back in late 22, and now you've had a couple years in the Fickell system. You know, it's kind of a broad question. We'll get into more specific questions, but kind of what has that experience been like to sort of, you know, be I would say a bridge, but two very vastly different ways of doing things. To be a part
absolutely.
of that process.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Very two different, very, very different ways of doing stuff. That's exactly right. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty difficult there for the first year. I mean, a lot of some guys that were there with Coach Chris, they took it pretty hard. Um, stuff changed up pretty fast. Not only the coaches, but just kind of the way we ran things. The time stuff started and ended at, how much stuff we were doing. Literally everything changed. And some people were for it. Some people really bought into it. Others not so much. And so we kind of had a crazy time. People transferring, and around this time, NIL starting to kind of NIL is very fresh. It's only a year old, I think, when Coach Fickell came in. And so I mean that just added to the craziness. People are talking numbers, and it's all he said, she said. Nothing's really for sure. So definitely a crazy time, but nonetheless, I had an amazing experience at Wisconsin. Even though it was pretty difficult with that coaching transition, and you'd like to say that you wouldn't want to, have your head coach fired while you're there, but that being said, I loved my time with Coach Chris. Absolutely fantastic coach, fantastic person, and his whole staff. And then when Coach Fickell came in, I'd say the same thing about them. I mean, ran stuff certainly differently, but Coach Fickell's a great leader. He's got a great staff around him, and there was a transition period, but I think they're starting to come out on the back end of it.
Yeah, I mean that's you're not immune to seeing fan reactions and media reactions. Obviously, there was a very excited period when Fickle came in 22. I mean, yes, it rankled some people certainly in the program. I know that talking to enough of the parents and coaches that there was a transition there as you've alluded to, but fans generally pretty excited. This is a guy coming off a college football playoff in 22, and it was an exciting moment. And then I think as you know as much as anyone, the results on the field didn't quite I think that's the understatement. Didn't quite translate in 23. Certainly not in 24. And people started realizing you hesitate to use the word rebuild because a rebuild says that things were terrible and then they got good. I think more we underestimated the transition and the things that had to change to go from one system to another. Is that a fair analysis?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just the entire offense. I mean, that was the biggest part of it. I mean, at least for me. But I mean, it's there's a transition for both aspects. You got the new staff, Coach Fickle himself, everyone that he's bringing with him. Now they're stepping into the Big Ten. It's quite different. I mean, obviously, and then we got all the kids too, like everyone a part of the team, all the athletes. I mean, they're trying to go through this transition and navigate that as well. And it's not just going to be something that you flip a switch and you say we're bringing in a new staff, we're bringing in the air raid, and it's done. The success is going to come. It takes time, I think, and there's a lot of hype that first season coming in. The whole dairy raid deal. I don't think that helped to contribute to it. Because then all of a sudden expectations are made, and there's I hate to say it, but there's definitely an expectation of some of the guys on the team, thinking that, oh, like everything's going to be great. And then, the season comes and you get slapped in the face with that adversity. I mean, I remember it was a real shame. Tanner Mordecai. I mean, he was a stud. And if we would have had him healthy, I mean, I think that would have changed a lot of games. But that's just one aspect in it. Everything's stuff's fluid. I mean, the adversity during a season changes just like that. So
Yeah, that's all well said. And one thing I've noticed to kind of break it down a little more specifically to your group, the offensive line, you know, I wasn't inside those rooms, those meetings, but and the view from the outside of the program, I'd be willing to put some cash on this. The situation in 2024 with the coaching and the cohesion and the way that line looked seemed very different than it looked in 2023. I know there's a new coach, AJ Blazek, who
yeah,
came in. Is it fair to say that coach has the direction trending up in the offensive line room right now compared to where it was in 23?
absolutely, absolutely. Coach Blazek's. I mean, when I was decided to come back for this last year, and I knew that I needed the new O line coach was going to happen. Part of me is like, God, like another one. Like this is the fourth one. Like I don't want to. Who's this guy going to be? But he really blew me away, surpassed my expectations. I mean, the way he rides for his guys, Coach Blazek. I mean, he's something special for sure. I mean, not only technically and scheme wise, but just his personality, his ability to recruit, his ability to relate with younger players. I mean, it's definitely something special. I mean, just the relationship I built with him in a single year, it's something special. Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, I'm not gonna have you throwing anyone in the bus. That's not my intention. I can do this though as a fan. I think if we all had a time machine, Luke Fickell had a time machine. There's some moves he might have made differently coming. And it's something you just don't know until you know. And that would go with maybe the offensive coordinator position, and that kind of was a package deal with the offensive line. That might have set things back a little bit, but I think people saw trends on things related to the offense and the offensive line last year. Of course, there were injuries at the quarterback position again, which I think hamstrung a lot of the stuff y'all were trying to do. But I do think if you drill down, you could see there was a change. And I think the offensive line is where it all starts with Wisconsin. You know that. You
Absolutely.
grew up you grew up a Wisconsin fan. You did
Yeah.
not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of the biggest things. I think if there's one thing I can go back and change, when Coach Fickle came in there, is just to kind of make sure and explain or whatever to Coach Fickle and to the OC or whatever, just to put more faith in the O line group. I mean, I think that it was a little bit underestimated, the experience, the skill, and the really just the football IQ that we had on the O line. And I think this past season the coach did a fantastic job of putting more faith in the O line. We would, if there was something we had an issue with, or if we wanted to, rotation, who's playing, or snap count, anything like that, we could go to Coach Fickle and he would listen, and he would take it to heart. And that's something I was really appreciative of. But I mean, yeah, I just wish they could have put more faith in the O line. I mean, you saw it in the Oregon game. I mean, we were running the ball. I mean, we were moving them. It's just, I just really wish we could have stuck with it. Just kind of grinded it out like Wisconsin does. And I've watched some spring practices, and I got a little brother on the team right now. And talking to him, it sounds like the new OC is doing a fantastic job of that, getting back to really putting a lot of faith, a lot of the offense on the O line's back. So that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, look, no one knows how Jeff Grimes is going to do as offensive coordinator, but I can sense a palpable excitement, not only from the room, from where y'all are, but from the fan base. And it's not just being wedded to Wisconsin, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or in Alvarez's case, 5.4 yards in a cloud of dust. Want to get back to that smash mouth, which is the identity. I think it always has been the identity since Alvarez came in. Uh, when we tried something else, didn't work. I think people want to do that, but there's also real reasons based on things that Coach Grimes has done in recent history, both at Baylor, BYU, and to a lesser extent at Kansas, didn't really have the time to have a healthy group there. But I think there's, I don't even say cautious optimism. I think people are excited to see the Grimes offense. Uh, see a little bit of a return to form for the ground game. But you know, you're not in those spring practices right now actually participating, but you're watching them. You know, it's March 21st. It's March Madness right now. But what is, we all see the schedule. It's a tough schedule. A lot of good defenses we're going to play this fall. But what's your sort of loose prediction on how that offense is going to look this fall?
I think, like you said, it's early, but my prediction is, if you go back to what year would have that been? Um, when we were playing under Bostad, so that would have been 2022, I believe. I think the offense is very similar to that with more motions, more movement, more shifts, and I think it's got a deeper bag of schemes and different plays we got. But I think that he's going to be able to, Coach Grimes, going to be able to take that to kind of the level that we wanted to take it in 2022, but couldn't do it. I mean, it just looks, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see kind of, the old stuff kind of come back a little bit with a spice of the new. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's going to work out really well. I really do. I'm cautious to say that because I don't want to give anybody some kind of crazy hype or anything like that. But it's looking good, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad to hear that, and I think I can speak for Wisconsin fans. I don't think there are going to be a lot of fans coming into the fall of 25 that are going to be overconfident. I think that's a
Yeah,
fair boots on the ground analysis. And, kind of like it is with some of Greg Gard's teams that have the lowest expectations, like, for example, this fall's team. Um, Wisconsin teams over the last 20, 30 years sometimes have their very best seasons, most satisfying seasons when expectations are low. That's not to say they can't handle pressure. What I'm saying is sometimes it's you're in the lab and no one's sure what you got and you come up with something special. And yes, it's late March, spring practice is roughly half over. No one is going to know how great we're going to be in the fall against that incredible slate of opponents.
yeah,
But there are reasons and raw materials on the wall right now which make me believe, as a longtime fan of the program, that it's not just run the ball, it's going to make me happy. Like, there are going
yeah,
to be wrinkles. Seeing motion again. Where was that? I mean, and again, it's easy to second guess Phil Longo now, and I don't wish any ill on Phil. I hope he has success at Sam Houston. No, it's fine. I didn't, my personal feelings on him are immaterial here, but it seemed like there was kind of a, you put the record on and put the needle down, and there was never any willingness to change anything. And I feel like Grimes will sort of adjust as needed with his bag of tricks and see how things go. That's a vibe. That's just we'll obviously see how it is in the field, but there seems to be things he's doing, as you alluded to earlier in practice, that would indicate that there's going to be a diversity to this offense. It's not just going to be run, 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 run. It's going to be run, run. Oh, they just went way downfield. This kid they got in from Ohio State. I mean, it's kind of exciting. So maybe it's the unknown of it that's as exciting as anything else. But I'm really looking forward to this fall.
absolutely. Yeah, I think Coach Blazik also gives me a lot of excitement just because I know he's really gonna, push for the O line and really kind of ask for some more responsibility to be put on the O line's back. And I know those guys. They're my best friends, and they're some great players. Really, really underestimated players. And I know Coach Blas will push for that. I know Coach Grimes and the rest of the offensive staff will, bring their part, and I think it'll mix together real well. I'm very excited.
That's great to hear. And for someone who's not paying attention, I know, star ratings and things like that for recruits, you never know how that's all going to shake out. When I look at the depth chart on this offensive line, and I am seeing a tremendous amount of well, it's talent spread across several classes, but especially a tremendous amount of young talent. Who are some kids that you're excited? Obviously, your heir apparent is Kevin Haywood, but who are some guys you're excited to see out on the field this year at the offensive line position?
Well, Kevin Haywood for one, like you said, he's a monster. He's just a ginormous human being.
And you have by the way, to stop you, you have a blood relative on that in that grouping too. So I know you have to be, somewhat
Yeah, yeah.
subjective, but I'm not gonna, Barrett's not gonna be mad at you if it's gonna be fine. But I know you're just trying to give the 10,000 foot view of, or maybe lower than 10,000 on the field view of how it's gonna look. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's just to
No,
set
yeah.
the scene for the audience.
I mean, I would just have to say just the overall depth in the O line room. I mean, guys like JP Benchwall, been in the program, I think 3 or 4 years. He's really starting to put stuff together, and guys like that just elevate the younger guys. I mean, it's really there's only 5 spots out there, but there's 12 dudes that could start at any Big Ten program. So I think that's just kind of iron sharpening iron, the competition. Because I mean, the truth is, I mean, when a new guy comes in, if he's a 5-star, 4-star, whatever, it doesn't matter because I mean, it's not high school, it's different. I mean, I learned that. Everybody's gone through that, and there's so many other factors. Can you learn the playbook? Do you play well with the guys? Do you mesh with the guys? Do the guys like you? Do they trust you? Can you play this position? Could you play that one? What happens if someone gets hurt? And just that combined with the fact that we've got so much depth, so much experience, and so much talent in the O-line room. I mean, it's certainly very exciting. And I mean, to be led by a guy like Coach Blazik, I mean, it's fantastic. Actually, it's really the perfect storm in there.
Well, that's great to hear. And as I'm a huge offensive line fan, I've always been a big fan of Wisconsin offensive lines. Obviously, frankly, that's what built the program under Alvarez. I mean, that bringing in, those that first class in 1990, who ended up Rose Bowl starters and Panos and Corey Raymer. It's good to see the foundations, the bedrock of the program, sort of replenishing itself, and not to say there wasn't talent in those rooms in the last few years. There certainly was. Obviously, you were there, but as kind of an OG now, looking back, I think you have to feel that it's in good hands now going forward. I mean, that's
Oh
the
yeah,
vibe.
absolutely. It's more like I've got it's just to see that they're in a good position to succeed and to show their talent, to show their ability. I mean the program's going to put more responsibility on the O line's back. Getting back to kind of like how we were talking about the traditional offense that we're used to here. That's a good feeling because I think that's really how these guys shine the best. So
Yeah. So backing off from offensive line, give me a couple names of guys that you're excited to see play this fall.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with my man Cade Yakimelli. I mean, he's just a power. He's a tough, strong, hard-nosed kid. I think it's someone like that at running back is really going to surprise people. And then along with that, I'm going to have to go Aaron Witt. I came in with Aaron Witt, and he just had injury after injury, really struggling in the training room. Never really was healthy. But I mean, the guy is huge. I mean, he's like 6'5", super long, and a weight room warrior. So I think this has been a long time coming for him. Like I said, he was always kind of, fighting injuries. But now that he's healthy, I'm excited to see what he can do. Because I mean, the guy's 6'5". He loves football, lives, breathes, eats football, and I think it's time for him to shine.
I'd love to see that. I mean, he's a kid that is just he. It was almost like if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. And
Yeah.
it would be awesome. And obviously across several, different coaches, position coaches, everyone sees the same thing you see, Jack,
Mhm.
in this kid's talent and this kid's work ethic. And I look at that room at OLB, the rigor, the transfer and wit and Heiberger. You have all these different levels and ages and experience levels. I'm really excited for that group. It obviously didn't quite go the way we wanted to last year as far as pressures and things like that. But this defense, between the guys that had been in the room for a while, getting healthy and getting older, the transfers they brought in, and young guys just simply getting more experience, it's hard not to be excited about some of that defense this year, that front seven especially. I mean, it's just because we know what the secondary can do. We've seen that before, but like the front seven wasn't a strength of the team last year. But I feel like it could be really solid this year. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. It gives me confidence to see guys like Aaron Witt that have been there. Ben Barton's another one. Guys that have been there, gone through the changes, the adversity, and their character has no question, and their ability to lead has no question. To see that with all the new faces I saw at spring ball, I mean, there was a ton of new faces on the front seven there, And I know those guys, the Aaron Witts, Ben Bartons, they'll lead by example and really kind of show them what it means to play football at Wisconsin. So I think, like I said, that gives me a lot of confidence in that room. And like I said, we'll just kind of have to see how it goes, because it's still early, but the leadership on the team, and especially in that D line room, that gives me some confidence for sure.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, let's turn to your future. And I know you're looking at the NFL draft coming up here in April in Green Bay. I'm sure that'll be pretty fun. Um, you know, give my viewers a little bit insight into how that prep process is going for you, as far as physical stuff, as far as interviews. I know that some of the testing you held back on because of an injury, but it sounds like your measurables were great, and so just give us a window into that process as we get
Yeah.
towards April.
Yeah, well, like you said, I pulled my hamstring training for the 40, so that was a little disappointing because I couldn't go to the Senior Bowl then or do any of the sprinting testing, which is, well, definitely a little bit disappointing just because historically I was kind of a combine guy, but at the end of the day, I've got 4 years of tape, and this past season played a pretty tough schedule. Only let up one sack and 9 pressures, so I'm confident in that. And so it's just kind of right now, it's all about I'm just waiting for the draft, doing my Zoom interviews right now in Madison, and just kind of staying idle, working out. But yeah, I'm definitely ready just to get back to playing football, man. Wherever I go, whenever I go in the draft, it's just about getting to that team and showing them what I'm about, and then making the team and going from there. Because I mean, it's just there's so many the media, the whole movie picture of the draft, how much it's publicized. I'm just ready to get back to playing football, to be honest.
Well, I love that. So, okay, I'm an NFL GM, and you're interviewing with me. Someone's brought you in for a visit. Uh, Hey, so what does Jack Nelson bring to insert NFL team here? I know you kind of just spoke to a
Yeah,
little bit of that now, but now you're kind of in that moment. What do you lead with, and what how do you say sell yourself? I don't mean like a car dealer, but like how do you convey the things that you will bring to a franchise?
yeah. So doing at the combine on these Zoom meetings, a lot of teams are like, "Why should we draft you?" And usually, I'll sell myself on I'm a 4 year starter. I've only missed one game in 4 years, so I'm durable. I've got film at right guard, 3 years at left tackle. So I'm not only a durable and experienced starter. This past season, I had my best season, only one sack and 9 pressures. And then along with that, I've proven I can handle adversity. I went through 4 line coaches in 5 years, 2 head coaches, that whole coaching staff change. And so, I'm just trying to sell myself as a tough, durable, experienced player that, I've been tested before. And, there's no reason to say that this transition to the NFL, I wouldn't be able to handle it. So,
Yeah, that's all well said, and just kind of objectively looking at the package of stuff that you bring, I know that aspects of your career haven't gone exactly to plan and what you would have liked, right from the coaching changes on down, including position coaching changes. But I feel like the way you just conveyed that could be an asset to you as far as, I'm not saying that life experience makes you a good offensive lineman in the NFL, but having the background of having to do different things and not be comfortable and do a position change and things like that. I would imagine that is a value add to you, at least in the minds of some GMs.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. Just kind of, they ask you all these questions about your character. And, can this guy handle, leaving the college scene and then kind of, acting like moving to the pro scene, being more of an adult, surrounded by, grown men with families. And, how well does this guy handle adversity? And, that's something that I really try to sell myself on, like saying, like, look, my college career was far from, the perfect dream of, easy, I'm going to come in and I'll have the same guy forever. And, he'll lead me to be in the NFL and it'll be all perfect. I had 4 offensive line coaches, ran like, our offense was run under 3 different people while I was here. So, and there was obviously some ups and downs in my personal play, but ultimately I try to convey that. Look, I've had so much adversity. Came back from my 5th year, finished well, had my best season the last season. So there's no reason to think that I wouldn't be somebody that could handle the transition to the NFL and the adversity that comes with it in that business of the game.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, this isn't an if, it's a when, but a smart NFL GM who has done his homework is going to select you in April, and I'm hoping it's the fit's great. Of course, I would love that to be Gutekunst, for selfish reasons. I think it'd be fun to stay in Green Bay, but obviously, I know that you would go wherever you think the fit is the best, where you're wanted, whether that's in Seattle or Green Bay or New York. I mean, you strike me as someone who is going to, obviously, for some of the reasons you just articulated as far as your Wisconsin career, you will go to wherever you're drafted in the NFL and make the best of that situation and make them happy they did it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing, and I want to get you out of here. I know there are basketball games on right now that we want to watch. Congrats to the Badgers for winning yesterday. Um, let's say there's a generic kid. Let's call him an offensive lineman who is a 26 or 27 kid who's considering the University of Wisconsin to attend and become a recruit for and sign on that dotted line next or this December. What would you tell that kid?
Who's thinking about coming to Wisconsin?
Yeah, who's being recruited by Wisconsin?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, if you want the glamour, the cool free stuff, the gear, the money, the whatever, don't come here. But if you want to go to a place where there's great people, great coaches, a great culture, in an amazing city, an amazing campus, and you're willing to work hard and earn it, then Wisconsin can be the place for you. And it's going to if you put the work in and earn it, you don't want any of the other BS. I mean, it'll turn out okay for you. I mean, I had a fantastic, unbelievable time at Madison. I mean, there's nothing I would change, nothing I would trade to go back to that. I mean, it was those truly were an amazing part of my life. But if you're willing, there's other glam and money and gear or whatever, official visits. Don't come here because I know that the O line room there, those guys, they don't want that. They want a guy that's a good guy, one of the boys, and someone that's tough, nasty, and is going to work hard. And if you do those things at Wisconsin, I mean, the world's your oyster, really.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, Jack, obviously I speak for myself, but also the rest of the Wisconsin fan base who's enjoyed watching you and has appreciated all you put into this program the last several years. Good luck with everything as your draft prep unfolds. I hope that your fit is great, that you go in and make an impact wherever you go. I certainly wouldn't bet against you, knowing what I know now and knowing your position flexibility. I know you probably are projected as a right tackle. That's my
Yep.
read. That would be ideal, but kind of like the Packers do it. I mean, sometimes you move along the line to fill positions, and knowing that you have that diversity in your bag of tricks has got to be good for teams considering you. So good luck with everything, and thanks so much for coming on today.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate it.